it's a very good evening to everybody joining us for this evening's pre-match show as we welcome Bradford City to the Banksy Stadium, looking to bounce back from Saturday's disappointment against Exeter City. There will be a new face in the Sadler's squad following the addition of Donovan Daniels from Crewe Alexandra, and hopefully he will be getting some minutes this evening following the suspension of Rolin Menese in Saturday's 2-0 loss against the Grecians. We're going to be taking a look back at some games that we've played previously against Bradford City, including the 1-1 draw earlier this season, and we take a look back to a 3-2 win in February 2019 where Josh Gordon scored twice in a 3-2 win, which saw Bradford striker Andy Cook, who at the time played for the Sadlers, get sent off after just 6 minutes. I'm going to also be joined by my colleague Paul Joannou as we look back to that 2-0 loss at the weekend against Exeter. For those of you wondering where the interview with Donovan Daniels is, hopefully we'll be catching up with him later this week, and we'll bring you that across all of our social media channels and our official YouTube channel. If you have been paying close attention to our YouTube channel, you will have seen that we did an update with Chairman Lee Pomlett following a supporters group meeting he had last week. If you want to go and check that out, that is one of our most recent videos on our YouTube channel, so make sure you are going to check that one out as it answers a lot of questions that have been put forward to the club recently. First up, we are going to take a look back at the 1-1 draw with Bradford City earlier this season. So there we have it, that was the 1-1 draw against the Bantams earlier this season, a game in which Jack Earing scored for the Sadlers shortly before captain Josh Labadie was shown a straight red card. Next up, we are going to take a look back at that 3-2 win that I mentioned earlier on in the show, a game in which Josh Gordon scored twice and Joe Edwards scored for the Sadlers, with current Bradford City striker and then Walsall striker Andy Cook was sent off for. Here are the key points from that game. So that was the 3-2 win over Bradford in February 2019, a game in which Josh Gordon scored 2 goals, with Bradford City striker and then Walsall striker Andy Cook getting sent off after just 6 minutes by referee Trevor Kettle. I'm now joined by Paul. As always, Paul, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. We'll go back to Saturday's game against Exeter here. It was a bit of a disappointing game from a Saddlers perspective, wasn't it? To lose 2-0 and have Rollins sent off, that's a big blow in terms of league points and, you know, losing a valuable member of the squad for tonight's game. It
was a real frustrating afternoon, and it felt like the gods weren't smiling on the Saddlers that day, although it must be said I think Exeter deserved the 3 points on the day. As you say, it was a frustrating afternoon. 44 minutes, it was okay. There was not a lot in the game at all, really. Exeter get their goal just on the stroke of half time. It's always an annoying time to concede, I think, for any team, and probably the best time to score just before half time. So, but then the Saddlers came out and I think had a very early chance through Wilkinson, but it was quite early in the second half that Rollin picked up that second yellow card, and the Saddlers were reduced to 10 men. It was an uphill task from there, wasn't it, really? And you know, I felt they battled well for the majority of that second half to keep Exeter at bay. Just felt like they weren't quite able to create too many clear-cut opportunities, and in the end Exeter kept coming, and eventually they got their goal with 5 minutes to go and killed off the game. But you know, Saddlers looked to be down to the bare bones towards the end of that game. Obviously Stephen Ward picked up an injury. You know, he looked a lot of pain. We wish Stephen all the very best. Obviously, you know, all our best wishes go to him in his recovery as well. Obviously, Rolling Meneyese will now miss tonight's game for a suspension. So Saddlers need to pick themselves up, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll be confident. You know, it's about having belief in each other, I think, and you know, I'm confident this group will bounce back because they have done on many occasions. So you know, I think they'll be raring to go. I think they'll be pleased that it's a quick turnaround from Saturday. So looking forward to tonight's game. Yeah, and you mentioned with the group bouncing back, a new addition to the group so far this week, Donovan Daniels coming in, 28, you know, seems to offer quite a lot of experience to the group. I think got promoted with Wigan back, I think it was the 15-16 season, so you know, he's got that pedigree of knowing how to get out of divisions, and it's a new platform for him now to come into League Two, having not been here before. So it's all about, you know, him coming in, showcasing what he's about, and the likelihood is he's probably going to be thrown straight in at the deep end this evening against, you know, a real physical Bradford side who have got a striker that all Walsall fans know about in Andy Cook. Yeah, that's it. It's going to be a test for him, isn't it? And a welcome addition to the squad, another centre half. With, as you say, he's got plenty of experience and good experience, you know, and it clearly has that winning mentality. As you rightly say, got promoted with Wigan, winning the league that season in 2016. So he comes with plenty of pedigree, and as you say, I don't think he's played as low as League Two. The lowest he's played, I believe, is League One. So you know, he's played at a very good level, and I'm sure that'll be useful and helpful. You know, he's a big strong lad, and I think he'll be able to slot in very well. Obviously, I think he played 31 games for Crewe in the last 2 seasons. I understand, I think he had a quite bad injury after Wigan's promotion, and he's, you know, getting back on track after that. So hopefully he's raring to go, and I know he said he's very keen to get games and really help the team and help himself be successful, and that desire and that hunger is what we need. Yeah, and you know, you will have seen the quotes from Walsall head coach Matt Taylor today saying, you know, that leadership quality, that hunger and desire for Donovan to come here and really, you know, improve himself, try and improve this team and really help himself out as well. You know, having that desire and that willingness to come, you know, drop down a division, because you know he was getting games at Crewe, albeit probably not as many as he would have liked, and their manager said that as well. You know, that they had that honest conversation that he wasn't getting as many games as he probably would have liked, but to show that willingness and that, you know, desire to come here and really better himself is a real good attribute to have as well. Definitely, I think that mentality and that attitude is, you know, what you want in your dressing room, isn't it? And you know, he's clearly got a lot of attributes to bring to this team, so it's a welcome addition, and I'm sure we'll get an idea of what he's like tonight, hopefully, if he's involved, and we'll see what he's all about. But again, it's competition when, you know, the likes of Rolling are back available, and then when Manny Month is eventually available again in a few weeks' time, or whenever it is, that we've got that competition now, and you know, it'll be intriguing to see how that develops.
Yeah, and we'll have team news coming up for you very shortly as well. But against Bradford this evening, it was a very competitive game earlier on in the season, a 1-1 draw with Jackie Earing scoring in that one. Josh Labadie got himself sent off in that one, but showed a real, strong mentality in there, didn't they, the Saddlers team, to go on and get a point in that game despite, playing with 10 men for, I think it was about 50 minutes in that one. So what are you expecting from Bradford this evening?
Another tough test. I think you touched on it there, the physical side. They've got experience in there, they've got some good strikers, they've got some really good League Two players, they've got an experienced manager, they've got a manager who's won promotions before. I don't think, they tend to keep things quite tight. I don't think there's a lot of goals in games involving Bradford, correct me if I'm wrong, but as you touched on that game back in September, it was one of my favourite games from the season actually. I just loved the way the team overcame the adversity and overcame the setback that going down to 10 men at Bradford and held on manfully to come away with a point. And obviously Jack Earing, it was a memorable one for him. It was his first EFL goal, so plenty of positive to take from that. And I think the Saddlers are going to need to hark on those memories of what they produced on that afternoon and go toe to toe with Bradford City.
Yeah, it's going to be another tough game for Matt Taylor's side, and hopefully it'll be one where they can get back to winning ways. Bradford themselves haven't won on the road in 2, Walsall without a win at home here at the Banksy Stadium in 2 games as well. So we're expecting a highly competitive fixture again this evening. If you are listening on iFollow, make sure you let us know via our social media channels and we can give you a shout out. It'll be Paul and BBC WM's Mike Taylor on there this evening. If you are coming to the game and looking to pick up a programme, we'll have plenty of sellers in and around the ground, as well as in the club shop. There's an exclusive interview with midfielder Emmanuel Osadibi in there. If you are an international viewer on iFollow, you will be able to watch the games as per usual for this evening's 7:45 kickoff against Bradford. As I mentioned earlier, we will have team news coming up shortly, and there's that one final thing for me to say. It's thank you as always for your support on this pre-match show and here inside the stadium. Make sure you're singing loud, singing proud, and come on you Saddlers.